Good morning, dear students. Today I'll be discussing with you the first chapter which we do in biology in standard 9. I have shared along with this video the soft copy of your 9th standard chapter 5 and some modules that would help you to understand the chapter. As the name of the chapter is the fundamental unit of life. What is the fundamental unit of life? We know the cell is the fundamental unit of life. Now, why do we call the cell the fundamental unit of life? Because you have been studying till your last class, all organisms are made up of cells, be it a snail, be it a snake, be it a human being, be it a spider, be it any plants, all organisms are made up of cells. Now, there are these organisms which I took name right now, they are all multicellular organisms. Cell is a very small unit. We cannot see a cell by our naked eyes. With the discovery of instrument known as microscope, scientists could see very small cells and they named these small units as cell. Now, who was this first scientist who named these units as cell? He was Robert Hooke. Cell was discovered by Robert Hooke in the year 1665. Now, this was a primitive microscope. In this primitive microscope, Robert Hooke saw the cork cells. He had made thin slices of cork. I hope you all know what is a cork. You have seen it somewhat like this shape, and he had made slice of this and he had seen this under the primitive microscope. He could see structures like this under the microscope, and he named these structures as cell. In Latin, small boxes are called cells. This word cell is derived from the Latin word, and we know the fundamental unit of life is called the cell. The cell is the fundamental unit of life. As I told you, the cell was discovered only when the microscope came into being. So, with more and more inventions, a compound microscope was developed by two scientists. Their names were Hans and Zacharias. These two scientists developed the compound microscope. Under this compound microscope, they observed very small organisms. They had taken a little bit of water from a nearby pond. They observed it. They could see very small organisms. What they were viewing were bacteria and protozoans. These organisms, bacteria and protozoans, are not visible by our naked eyes. These are, by your previous classes knowledge, you know they are unicellular organism. So the fundamental unit of life, cell, that means the cells are of. Next discovery was by two scientists, Sheldon and Shawn, in the year 1839, 38 and 39. They developed a theory known as the cell theory. They said all living organisms are made up of one or more cells, which we discussed just now, that all organisms are either unicellular or multicellular. They also said that cell is the basic unit of life. Anything that is living is made up of cells. Later on, there was another scientist known as Virchow in the year 1855 said all cells arise from a pre-existing cell. This was added to the cell theory. So these are the few points of the cell theory. The cell theory, this was given by two scientists, Sheldon and Shawn, in the year 1838-39. Now in this theory, the first most important point was all living organisms are made up of one or more cell. That's how we on today's day say unicellular organism and multicellular organism. Next point which they stated was cell is the basic unit of life. And another scientist, Virchow, in the year 1855 added another point saying all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Now these were the points which come under the cell theory. This is a very important topic from your syllabus, and as we see, these are the important points in this. Smallest unit of life, cell. Similar cells form tissue. Similar tissues form organs. Organs form organ system, and organ system form the organism. So unicellular organisms are made up of only one cell. So they do not show any differentiation in their body. The whole organism is made up of only one cell. Whereas in case of multicellular organism, we find group of cells performing similar function to form a organ. These organ systems combine together to form the organ system, and the organ system together form the organism. So there is a hierarchy in which the whole organism is made up.